Were you actually trained as a pro wrestler, or did you just get in and start doing it then?
I didn't have a Rip Rogers man around to teach me to go to these damn schools or anything like that. Jack pushed back the furniture in his dining room and started showing me during spring break. I'd go on road trip with him, and I just he said, "Let me show you something." So I started learning like that, and during the summertime, Leroy gave me a job of setting up the ring. So yeah, as Rip knows, Leroy ran a lot of those old carnival spot shows, old fair shows and everything. So you'd have to go early, set up the ring, and more times than not, some of the old timers would be there early because they wanted to go around the fair for free and get free treats and all that stuff. So they'd come up, Brisco, we know you wrestle in college. Would you show us how to do this? And we'll show you a little bit about pro wrestling. So it was kind of a cultural exchange. I'd show them a little bit of my shoot style wrestling. They'd show me some of the working stuff. So by the time I got ready, I'd never had a match, but anyway, spring break happened 1969. I go over and I want to travel a week with my brother to see these pro wrestling matches. We head up to Joplin, Missouri. My brother's partner was Gorgeous George Jr. And George, the night before, got his ankle broke by Danny Hyde. Danny put an ankle lock on him a little too stiff, and didn't break it, but twisted enough where it swelled up, and he couldn't work the next night. And so our tag team against, I think it was Buddy Colt, who was Ronnie Reed at the time, and Danny Jack Donovan with Vern Bottoms, his wife, as their manager. So Buddy Colt looked at me and he said, Buddy was one of those guys who would always exchange knowledge with me on these spot shows too. Buddy was a great guy. Buddy's one of my all-time heroes, man. One of the guys that I think is probably one of the most overlooked heels in the entire field of professional wrestling. What do you think about that, Rip? I mean,
well, when I was working for Championship Wrestling from Florida in 1985, he was doing the color. I can't remember if it was with him and Coach Heath or him and Gordon, whatever it was. But he was like the old heel who had been there for years, but now he's an announcer, so he's babyface. He's the guy with the stories. He was the guys with the knowledge. He's the guy that had all the boys' respect.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
And I wasn't from that area, and all I knew from him was like the Brisco brothers when I was growing up was the wrestling magazines. And I got every wrestling magazine you could get in Seymour, Indiana at the pipe shop. Once a month they'd come in. There were probably 6 or 7 of them, and I'd get them all at one time when they wasn't throwing me out for just reading them for free anyway.
Well, I had a sister who worked at the local drugstore, so when the wrestling magazine would come in, she would call me before they hit the stand. So I'd get to go down there and go through all of them, and I'd stand there and look at them so long. Pretty soon, the owner of the drugstore would come over and said, "Gerald, you got to leave. I'm going to put these on the stand, either buy them or put them back on the rack." There, Coach, I put them back on the rack. But anyway, make that story. We're wrestling. Jack is wrestling. Against Danny Jack Donovan. Did you know him any along the road?
Just by the name. I didn't
well, see, I'm bringing up all these names. You told me to bring up some of these old. You don't even know who the hell I'm talking about.
Well, I know the name, but
I can't believe I'm older and you know more damn these old timers than you do.
No, I think it's awesome to hear somebody bring up names that Rip doesn't know, because Rip knows every single name that everybody ever mentions on our show. So I think this is great.
No,
you can start a segment. Stop Rip.
Rip. I'm like a little.
So you're about what, 7 years younger than?
I'm like a little kid in a candy store, and I'm looking at one of my heroes.
Anyway, so they asked me if I wanted to work, and asked Jack, of course, if it's okay. Well, he's still in college, Well, hell, we won't even use his name, but everybody there knew who I was because I favored Jack, of course, he's my brother. So anyway, I borrowed an extra pair of boots from somebody somebody had just finished a match, and Jack had an extra pair of ties. So I put them on, and back in those days, if you were in a tag team match, and Rip I hope he can back this up, but back in those days, the cards weren't real big. So if you were in a tag team match, you usually had to work what they call a warm-up match.
The captain's match, a singles.
Yeah, a singles match. You
right.
go out for 15, 20 minutes, whatever time they needed, and then go out. So Buddy Colt volunteered. I'll take him out in a warm-up match, and I'll see if he can do a tag match. And So I said, okay. And he said, Dewey, don't do anything unless I tell you to do. Don't revert back to the Hodge days, the shooting days, and just listen to what I say and do exactly what and I'm going to keep it basic and stuff that we did in this singles match here. And we'll get our 15 minutes in and then we'll come back and plan the tag match. But don't do anything. I said, yes, sir. So I went out there. And man, I was scared shitless, man. I was so scared. Here I am my first time, and I'm not even, like you said, I'm not even trained. I learned a wrist lock in the locker room or probably in Jack's dining room. I don't know where it was, but I went out and had my first match, and man, that 15 minutes it seemed like it took 45 minutes to an hour and a half to get through. But we got through it, with nobody getting hurt or anything. So I'm feeling real good about myself. So now we have a 2 out of 3 fall match, for whatever it was, just put in time for probably Hodge and whoever he was working at, Nikita Khrushchev or whatever the hell those guys name were. But anyway, we go out in a regular tag team match. We get through the first 2 falls. Now I'm starting to feel a little, frisky and everything. Man, it's coming pretty damn easy to me. I could wrestle, so. All they had me doing was take downs and grabbing a headlock and an arm bar and stuff like this simple stuff. I wasn't allowed to kick or punch or anything like that because they were afraid of me. So finally, Jack gives me a comeback. I don't know why Jack gave me a comeback. When he come back, well, hell, I see I'm a TV guy. I'm watching TV all the time. So hell, I just start throwing punches. I back Buddy Colt up against the ring. I rear back. And Jack and I are both left-handed. And he didn't know at that time I was left-handed. I rear back and I gave Buddy a damn hit. Man, he turned his face right into my left hand. And man, I nailed him in the ear, and immediately that ear started swelling. God damn, I told you not to punch me. I told you not to punch me, man.
Big gold and a billfold, so swole that I can't get the shit closed. So I money fold and rubber band wrap, and when it pop.